this is not fair. Some bands work their asses off, cramming as many songs as it's physically possible on an album, making sure their fans get the most benefit from their buck. Meanwhile, others don't even bother to meet the bare minimum for an album but still push it for the full price. Not fair. But what if I told you that the second case was a cornerstone metal record, while the first one ranks among the top 10 metal betrayals? Raining Blood by Slayer was the peak of thrash metal. Many death metal bands cited it as one of their biggest influences, and that kind of breakdown in the sort of title track even inspired Pantera to explore that vibe further, leading to groove metal, which became foundation for modern metal. It may not be the best metal album ever, in fact some even call it overrated, but one thing is for sure. Those 28 minutes left a huge impact on the genre. Wait, what did I just say? 28 minutes? Wouldn't that make it an EP instead of an album? This question came up in the comments on their video about Hidden Treasures by Megadeth, which is officially labeled as EP, that is extended play or mini album. But it's 8 tracks recorded in the studio, most of them are original, couple covers. It's running over 30 minutes, which technically meets the requirement of an LP, that is a long play, aka normal album as I call it. And now we have the opposite case to that, Raining Blood by Slayer. It has 10 tracks, yeah, but the total runtime does not even hit half an hour. Still is considered equal to other iconic metal records from 1986, like Peace Cells or Master of Puppets, which is almost twice as long as Raining Blood. So this Slayer cheat by pushing their essentially an EP as an LP. Well, you might say it's all about just 66 seconds. 66. But that actually makes it worse. Plenty of times in history, bands found themselves a little short of an album, but they did not slack off, they managed to squeeze out one more. Sometimes what was meant to be a filler, written within literally a coffee break time, became their biggest hit, like Paranoid by Black Sabbath. And that even happened to Metallica, maybe even a couple times. The most known example was Ride the Lightning. It was not about the runtime, but the number of tracks. They had 7, they needed one more, and so they made Escape within literally a couple days. Not the biggest hit, but still they tried, they put some work. So why did not Slayer do the same? Well, actually, the truth is more down to earth. There was no greed or conspiracies behind Raining Blood being shorter than it should have been. It was just a case of got overlooked, and then it was too late to fix. According to the band, they recorded all the music they intended to for Raining Blood, and only after the mixing was finished did they realize it was just 28 minutes long. Maybe they just played it too fast, and so that was enough to make it below the bar of half hour. And they actually low-key panicked, because that did not seem right to them. If they had noticed it earlier, maybe they would have done something, but at that point it was too late. Remember, back then, music production was not cheap and quick. It was not like we do it now, and that's it. The bands did not have their own studio, they had the studio booked for some limited time, and so doing it all over again just for some half-assed filler track was not financially worth it. And so, seeking advice what they're gonna do, they turned to their producer, Rick Rubin. You might have heard about the guy. And his response was basically, who cares? So if anything, blame not the band, but the realities of music making back in the day, or Rick Rubin, who's complaining when we got Angel of Death. But who even said that an album has to be at least 30 minutes? Where is that written? In fact, nowhere. LPs and music albums in general began in the early 20th century, evolving with recording technology. Before LPs, music came on 78 RPM records, which held only 3-4 minutes per side. This changed in 1948, when LP was introduced, which could hold up to 22 minutes per side. This allowed artists to release full collections of songs on one piece, instead of just a bunch of singles in a flippable album, literally, but the name stuck. So the LPs could have up to 45 minutes of music, but that was not mandatory. One could put less on it, just wasted space, and so these 30 minutes became this common benchmark, yet not a strict rule. And today with digital platforms, albums can be any length. Basically, the album as we know it is more of a tradition, both in the name and format, and you are free to call any music release one as long as it's in a reasonable ballpark. And even that's optional. The shortest, quote-unquote, long play ever is 1/100th of a second. That's ridiculous, and yeah, in metal it's rather an exception to make short long plays. It's a bit more common in punk, hardcore, grindcore, considering the nature of the music and the length of the tracks, and Raining Blood is the only known example for me in metal. You know what? We can make Raining Blood over 30 minutes without adding new material. Remember how I suggested they could have sped it up so it became shorter? It might have come two ways. They played it faster because, they were drunk and everything, or the tape was sped up, literally. That was a common trick back in the day to make the music tighter. Everyone was using it. Sometimes it came with changed pitch, quarter sharp tunings in Metallica, Megadeth. A lot of bands had that. And so I've done some calculations. In order to make it 30 minutes in 1 second, just for sure, it has to be slowed down by 3.8%, which is not a lot. Within live tempo fluctuations, so would you tell the difference between this and this? To me, it's still insanely fast, and faster than anything at that time, and it still sounds like Slayer. But now it's a normal album. Remember that Megadeth video that I mentioned about Hidden Treasures, the EP that should have been an album? You can watch it here. Push that like. You can support me by the links in the description. See you next time, friends.